Did you know that most people can tell right away when someone is lying to them? Yet a lot of people still don't know how to respond, right? You can do more than just catch someone in a lie. It's about keeping your temperature and protecting your peace. Acting in a way that aligns with your values in today's world is crucial. Being honest can feel like a rare commodity. Knowing how to handle these times are more important than ever in work relationships, or even just dealing with dishonesty casually with grace, is a skill that can make your personal and professional lives better. This video will talk about 3 strong strategies that come from Stoic philosophy. These established guidelines will assist you in managing these situations with tranquility. Part of the daily life of some of the most resolute mindsets in history. You'll have a better understanding by the end of this video, just like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca did, of how to see dishonesty, how to act on it, and how to leave it stronger. I have not moved, so grab your journal and find a comfortable spot. And get ready for an in-depth dive into changing Stoic traits. Along the way, I'll talk about steps you can take and stories that show how these principles work in real life. Stick around, you won't want to miss the useful tips that could change how you deal with these tough situations. Without further ado, let's start our conversation and uncover the secrets. How the Stoics told us to deal with dishonesty. At its core, it's a trick of reality that lets someone change the truth, to meet their own goals or stay comfortable. But here's the thing, how you react to lying often reveals more about you than the lie itself. Socrates once said, "The only real wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing." When someone lies, they try to change what you know or think. The Stoic way is to stay grounded in your own clarity, knowing that the only thing you can really control is yourself. When dealing with dishonesty, does your mind and reaction make things harder? Is controlling the right way to feel disappointed, angry, or even betrayed? It's easy to face the lie directly or act immediately, but Stoic philosophy says not to. It serves as a reminder that such reactions are ineffective and often exacerbate the situation. Seneca, a master of Stoic thought, told us that we should suffer more. When someone lies to us, it hurts more in our minds than in real life. We learn from how we interpret lies, not the lies themselves. The Stoic answer? Take a deep breath and remind yourself that their lie says more about them than you than it does about you. Think of a time when a friend or co-worker lies to you, or even a family member. Perhaps you found them living a lie and cried. Was it to call them out? What's coming up? Do they accept the truth? Or did they double down and make a bigger web of lies? Most of the time, reacting quickly only leads to defensiveness or conflict by contrast. When you respond calmly and thoughtfully, you maintain control of the situation and of yourself. The Stoics were big believers in detachment, and this is where their wisdom shines. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "In meditations you have power over your mind." This is not about outside events. Understand this, and you will find strength. If someone lies, their words are the outside event. You can't change what they do. You don't have to let their dishonesty bother your inner peace, but you can choose not to. This doesn't mean ignoring the lie, or letting it slide means going into the situation with peace. Western psychology shares this way of thinking. Carl Jung talked about how important it is to be aware of yourself, saying, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life. You will call it fate if you're not conscious that it will rule your life." When someone is dishonest, your unconscious anger or hurt can take over. If you're not aware of it, you can become more aware and mindful. You are empowered to control these reactions and act from a place of strength. Not vulnerability is another important part of the Stoic mindset. It's easy to feel wrong when someone lies, but what you need to do is understand the role of empathy. Stoicism encourages us to consider why they might have felt the need to distort the truth. Are they afraid of judgment, trying to stay safe from what they see as a threat? This isn't an excuse for their behavior, it's an attempt to understand it better. Empathy can diffuse your own emotional response and allow you to handle the situation with greater wisdom. Think about a friend who makes up a story to make themselves look better, and you know the truth. Instead of arguing with them, consider their motivations. If they respond with understanding, it could mean they're feeling insecure or looking for validation. Maybe by getting back to their real strengths, you can not only avoid conflict, but also make things better. Hold on to the Stoic principle of focusing on what really matters as well. The Stoic way of thinking teaches us the value of being able to handle dishonesty for a long time. Receiving from someone close to us can be painful, but it can also be very strong. A tree remains resilient during a storm, and a Stoic individual maintains their strength when faced with challenging circumstances. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, but rather mastering them. Over time, practicing this resilience strengthens your ability to navigate dishonesty and life's other obstacles with grace. Handling dishonesty with a Stoic mindset, it isn't about winning the interaction or exposing the liar. This is about staying true to yourself and your values. It's about not letting other people's actions change who you are, ruin your peace of mind. Lies are often easy to spot because they are wrapped up in words that sound convincing. But I feel like finding these subtle falsehoods will take more work. More than clear vision, it needs an open mind and a steady heart. As Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. This is a perfect example of that. Before we can discuss dishonesty and other individuals, we must first understand ourselves clearly. Self-awareness is the first step toward Stoicism. It's a calm base that allows us to understand what other people did without our own feelings or prejudices getting in the way. One of the best ways to spot dishonesty is to look for contradictions. Not only do the liar's words, but their entire behavior and Stoicism compel us to believe them. Pay attention to the evidence available and do not jump to conclusions for now. Think about someone telling you a story about how they missed an important event. Given the sudden emergency, what they said might make sense, but their tone doesn't sound urgent, or their body language makes it sound like they're fidgeting. The Stoic approach is to avoid eye contact and talk quickly. It would be beneficial to observe these contradictions without immediately reacting. Observing can show a lot, which is another sign of dishonesty. Is overcomplicated people who lie frequently add unnecessary details to their stories. Seem more credible, but these embellishments can raise more questions than they answer. For example, someone might explain why they were late to a meeting by launching into an elaborate story about traffic patterns, road construction, and an improbable sequence of events. Being Stoic requires attentive listening to avoid being caught off guard. However, to understand their story, are the details coherent or do they contradict? Marcus Aurelius reminds us of each other as the story goes on. In meditations, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. While lies frequently become complicated, truths are typically straightforward. Western psychology also gives us clues about how to spot dishonesty. Carl Jung talked about the shadow, which is the part of ourselves that we hide or deny. A liar's shadow often reveals itself through micro-expressions, fleeting facial movements that betray their true feelings. For instance, a brief flash of guilt or fear might appear. Before they regain composure, Stoics advocate for keen observation, without attachment, allowing you to notice these subtle signs without letting them provoke you. Let's consider you're speaking with a colleague about a group project. and they make a bold claim. In their contribution statement, something seems off, but instead of going directly to them, you ask open-ended questions. Could you tell me what you did, or what problems you encountered on your part? This approach aligns with the Stoic principle of approaching situations rationally. Rather than emotionally encouraging them to elaborate, you're giving them space to either clarify or inadvertently expose inconsistencies in their story. Body language can also be a strong sign of how dishonest someone is with their words. Might say one thing, but what they do often tells a different story. Crossing your arms to avoid eye contact or sudden changes in posture can be signs of discomfort or lying. But Stoic objectivity warns against relying too much on any one sign. The first thing you should do is learn what you say before you speak. In the same way, pay attention to all of a person's communication, including their words, tone of voice, and body language. Before drawing conclusions when faced with a statement that feels untrue, a brief pause can be incredibly revealed. Liars often feel compelled to fill the silence either by repeating their claim or adding unnecessary details. For instance, imagine someone insisting they didn't borrow your book without asking. A simple, non-confrontational pause might lead them to over-explain. I saw it on the table, but I didn't touch it. However, it's possible that I moved it, but only to make space. This tendency to talk themselves into a corner often exposes the truth without any need for accusation. Empathy, too, plays a vital role. In detecting dishonesty, while it may seem counterintuitive, you can spot a lie more easily if you know what motivates the person telling it. The need to lie. Are they protecting themselves by avoiding conflict or trying to gain an advantage? Empathy doesn't mean excusing the lie. It means viewing the situation through a broader lens. By understanding their motivation, you gain insight into their behavior, which sharpens your ability to detect inconsistencies. Detecting lies is less about catching someone and more about maintaining your own clarity. And composed Stoicism teaches us to put our inner peace first. Over-validation. It's easy to feel disrespected when someone lies, or angry, but reacting emotionally will only make you less able to judge by making you more objective. You not only identify dishonesty but also model the kind of integrity that Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius championed. Dishonesty is a test not of the liar but of your own ability to stay firm in the truth and reason. Lies may change the reality for a while, but your determination to see clearly and act wisely makes sure that the truth comes out. What will always win? Once you've seen dishonesty, the next step is to respond carefully. Stoicism, which focuses on reason and emotional control, gives us 3 useful strategies. How to handle these cases effectively. Silence is one of the most underestimated responses in moments of tension, especially when faced with dishonesty. The great Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius emphasize the power of pausing before action when someone lies. Responding immediately often feeds their narrative. A brief pause of 10 to 15 seconds, intentional silence can make the liar feel a lot of uncomfort. They may begin to question whether their story was true or whether they've been caught. For instance, if a friend insists they didn't borrow your belongings, but you suspect otherwise, instead of accusing them, try silence. Look at them calmly without reacting. This quiet moment forces them to fill the void, often leading to over-explanation or subtle contradictions. Silence when used strategically. It's not a passive act, it's a demonstration of your composure and control. Silence also serves another purpose. It gives you time to reflect. The Stoic principle of not acting out of impulse comes into play here. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you that matters, but how you handle it. A pause gives you a moment to match your response to your values so that you don't react emotionally, but think about it. A lot of the time, direct accusations don't lead to beneficial results. The Stoic way is to ask clarifying questions that make the other person want to explain themselves more. This technique not only maintains the consistent tone of the conversation, but also allows the liar to face their own inconsistencies. For example, put yourself in the place of a co-worker. Rather than asserting completion of a clearly incomplete task, they are claiming completion. You could have asked, "Could you walk me through how you do the task? I know you didn't do it. I'd like to know how you do this." This method directs the focus back towards them. Without moving against them, Socrates is known as the founder of Western philosophy. Often use this method, which is known as the Socratic method. By asking open-ended questions, he found statements that didn't make sense. By leading them to self-reflection, your questions can help them find the truth in a gentle way. This method also confirms what you know without requiring a difference. One important Stoic value is maintaining peace by refraining from making harsh accusations. As you seek the truth, you also seek relationship honesty. Asking with respect keeps the conversation going, whether it's with a friend, co-worker, or loved one. When dealing with dishonesty, the best response isn't always right away. Taking the time to think about what's going on can be very helpful. And this fits with the Stoic idea: control your own reactions instead of letting the moment control you. If something doesn't feel right, say, "I'd like to think about this some more and come back to our conversation later." For a liar, this delay can be scary because they often depend on your quick response. To safeguard their narrative, you disrupt their flow by temporarily halting the conversation. This gives you more time to reflect on the current situation. This method works especially well when there is a lot at stake. When there is an urgent need to act, such as in business negotiations or personal conflicts, could raise tensions or cause more problems. Think about a scenario when someone in the family tells you different stories about why they missed an important event. Instead of pressing them on the spot, you could say, "I need a little time to think about what you've said. Let's talk about this again." Tomorrow, this gives you space to assess their words and decide on the most Stoic way to respond, delaying the conversation. Also, signals self-assurance. It shows that you're not rushed into accepting their narrative and that you're confident enough to take your time, as Marcus Aurelius advised. That thing that bothers you is not this one. If something outside of you hurts you, it's not this thing, but make your own decision about it. A delayed reply gives you the chance. You need to change your views and look at the situation clearly. There's something very unsettling about toxic reactions when dishonesty is present. If you expect someone to apologize or make amends, you will only encounter aggression. If caught lying online, someone may deflect or gaslight. Not because you've done something wrong, but because they feel threatened. As Aristotle observed, anyone can become angry. That is easy, but to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. Handling toxic reactions demands not only emotional discipline, but also a deep understanding of human behavior. When someone reacts toxically questioned or challenged, it's often a defense mechanism. They may feel cornered, so they deflect by attacking your character or exaggerating their response. Imagine a situation where you ask a friend about inconsistency in their story, and instead of addressing the question, they say, "Why are you always so suspicious of me? Do you even trust me at all?" This deflection shifts the focus from their actions to your supposed flaws, making you question yourself. For example, if someone begins gaslighting you, claiming you're imagining things or accusing you of being overly sensitive, a Stoic response might involve calmly restating the facts. Let's imagine a situation where a co-worker claims to have sent an email even though it was evident they hadn't. They might say you missed it because you always forget things like that. Instead of defending yourself, you can say, I checked my email several times and did not find it. Could you send it again now while staying calm and focused on the problem at hand? Do not get involved in their attempt to break your confidence, which is another commonly toxic reaction, is the rising of emotions. When someone discovers they are lying, their voice may rise. Become very angry or start blaming others. That's how they get power. The narrative creates a sense of chaos. Picture a partner who, upon being questioned about an inconsistency, he responds, I find it unbelievable that you're holding me responsible for this. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me. This strategy changes the subject. From how they act to how gratitude should make it harder to address the original problem here is that Stoicism teaches us another important lesson, how important it is to be detached. As the saying goes, if you are offended by a man's fault, blame yourself. And review what you did wrong, then you will get over your anger. Their anger isn't a reflection of you, it's a sign that they can't face the truth. By detaching yourself emotionally, you can approach the situation with clarity and avoid being pulled into their drama. It's also crucial to recognize when someone's toxic reaction crosses a line into emotional manipulation. For some individuals, when faced with accountability, will resort to bringing up past conflicts or unrelated grievances to confuse or guilt trip you. The goal of this strategy, known as kitchen sinking, is to overwhelm you. In this case, if you talk to a sibling about not keeping a promise, they might say, oh, I'm sorry. Do you remember when you forgot my birthday 2 years ago? In times like these, it's an intentional attempt to make you doubt your right to talk about it. Setting firm limits might be part of a Stoic response. For example, you could say, I hear what you're saying. I'd like to talk about other issues later, but for now I'd like to focus on this one. This method acknowledges their feelings without allowing them to interfere. The conversation also supports your point of view without being confrontational. It might seem counterintuitive to try to figure out why they act the way they do. You can respond better if you ask yourself why they are reacting this way. Do they feel cornered or ashamed? Are they afraid of loss of face? Being empathetic doesn't mean you agree with what they did, but it does help you understand the situation better and respond with compassion. Rather than hostility, toxic reactions are a test. Not of your ability to expose the truth, but of your ability to remain true to yourself. Lies and the chaos they create can shake even the strongest relationships, but your response determines whether they'll destroy your peace of mind. By anchoring yourself in Stoic principles, you can navigate these moments with grace, maintaining your integrity, even in the face of anger, deflection, or manipulation. As the Stoics remind us, the storm is temporary, but the strength you build in weathering it will last a lifetime. There's a certain wisdom in knowing when to resist and when to let go in our lives. We often encounter people who test the limits of our patience and integrity while it's noble. To fight for understanding and resolution, there comes a point when continuing the engagement. As champion Socrates once stated, it only saps your energy and jeopardizes your tranquility. Someone once said that you should pursue virtue as you wish to see it. Your actions and choices, including the choice, should be based on your highest values. Walking away when you need to is not the same as giving up or accepting loss. It has to do with keeping your inner peace and following your values. According to Stoicism, you should focus on what you can change and let go of the rest. When someone consistently engages in dishonesty or behaves badly, the reality is that you cannot control them. How others act is only how you respond. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly: waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Walking away is an act of strength and self-respect, not weakness. Think about a situation where someone continually lies to you. Perhaps it's a friend who promises to change, but keeps breaking their word each time you give them another chance, hoping they'll follow through, yet they don't over time. This cycle erodes your trust and leaves you feeling frustrated and disrespected. Stoicism teaches us to think about these patterns logically instead of emotionally. If their actions consistently undermine your values, it might be time for you to move on. The calm approach is not motivated by anger, but rather by self-respect. To walk away also means avoiding anger. It's simple to hold grudges. Instead of dwelling on the wrongs others have done, Stoicism advises us to let go of these burdens. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Imagine that walking away with grace means leaving the situation without getting angry." Instead of focusing on how you were wronged, shift your attention to how you can move forward and grow from the experience. Let's explore a more personal example. Family relationships. These can be some of the most challenging to navigate because of their deep emotional ties. Perhaps a family member has a pattern of dishonesty that has caused repeated conflicts. You've tried addressing the issues calmly and empathetically, but they continue to behave in ways that undermines your trust. Walking away, in this context, doesn't necessarily mean cutting ties completely. It might involve setting solid boundaries and limiting time and energy. You invest in that relationship. It's about creating space for your own peace. Walking away from social circles while still being kind and compassionate is also true. Imagine a group of friends where gossip and manipulation are the norm. You realize Stoic philosophy says that being a part of this group often makes you feel tired or uncomfortable. Issues. You to think about the company you keep, as Seneca wrote. Associate with people who are likely to make you better. Leaving such a circle is not an act of judgment, it's an act of self-preservation and alignment with your values. Western psychology aligns with this Stoic principle. Carl Jung spoke of individualization, the process of becoming the most authentic version of yourself, part of that journey. It involves shaping relationships and situations that no longer serve your growth. Leaving is a statement about yourself, not a rejection of others. And that's what you stand for, of course. It's not easy to decide to walk away. It takes courage and self-reflection. You may struggle with guilt or the fear of conflict, or concern about how others will perceive your decision. But as the Stoics remind us, your duty is not to please everyone, but to live virtuously when you choose to walk away. You're prioritizing your mental clarity, emotional well-being, and alignment with your principles. In the end, walking away is not about retreating, but about advancing toward a life with more honor and peace. It's a strong reminder that you are in charge. The people and situations you choose to keep in your life should reflect your path. When you walk away when it's time, you're not just preserving the values you hold dear. When you care about your own peace, you show those around you how to be strong and respect yourself. As you move forward, let the wisdom of Stoicism guide you in choosing the people and environments that truly align with the life you want to live. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Guru. If you found this video helpful, be sure to check out one of the suggested videos on the screen for more insights into living a calm and resilient life. Until next time, hold on to your virtues and keep practicing and reflecting.